My home province is doing some really good stuff, really setting the standard. Freedom-seeking provinces in Canada, and, well, that's getting to be a smaller spot of land in this once great country, but you take the W's where you can get them. And there was so much ruckus just created around this whole Alberta Sovereignty Act, okay? Our loyal opposition, Rachel one-term wonder Notley, was so appalled by this declaration of independence from a federal tyranny that she wanted to enact some federal tyranny in order to have her minuscule little party's whims and wills enforced upon the rest of the country. It was so absolutely insane that it could only come from the NDP, okay? But let's see what we ended up getting out of this, okay? The Alberta government, in a late-night session of the provincial legislature, voted 27-7 to pass the Sovereignty Act with amendments that clarified any changes made to laws have to return to cabinet for debate. The bill moved to a third and final reading and was approved at 1 a.m. with all of the United Conservative Party voting in favor and the opposition NDP party voting against it in all three readings. Yeah, as you can see, 27-7. The NDP is insignificant. They get a lot of fucking press, okay? Especially by mass media up here, which is just overwhelmingly leftist. You cannot get a fair shake from CBC, CTV, all of those gimmicks, okay? If you think NBC, ABC, and CBS is bad in the United States, come up here and try to find a singular conservative voice with the same amount of reach, okay? It doesn't exist. It absolutely doesn't. Eventually, a motion was passed by Government House Leader Joseph Shaw, to limit further debate. There have been plenty of time for members to speak. He's like, listen, I'm tired of this shit. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Let's just fucking go. I said during the second reading, noting that the bill received 18 hours of debate. That's a lot, okay? It's probably just the NDP bitching and complaining. But we're a country. We should be more like Ottawa. No, Albertans don't want that. They don't, okay? Your Edmonton constituents might want it, okay? But the people who actually make the money in this fucking province want as little to do with the East as humanly fucking possible. Bill number 1, Alberta Sovereignty within the United Canada Act, the first legislation introduced since Danielle Smith was elected premier, generated praise for both its stated purpose of providing a constitutional shield against overreach by Ottawa and suggestions that the bill is unconstitutional and undemocratic. Of course it did, because the NDP, those communist shills are just so concerned with our democracy. It's like, again, okay, the entire impetus of this bill is we don't recognize any federally passed laws that have direct say over what Albertans can and can't do with their bodies, okay? That's unconstitutional and undemocratic, okay? Can you point to it? Can you point to the Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms, okay, Rachel Notley, and tell us where it touched you? Because you can't, you dumb bitch. Premier Danielle Smith said during the debate over the bill, it's not like Ottawa is a national government. No, exactly. Ottawa looks after Ontario. That's it, okay? They could give a fuck what the wills and desires of Saskatchewan, Alberta, Northern BC do, okay? They like to virtue signal for the territories, pander to Vancouver, and then just give handouts to the Maritimes and Quebec as well, okay? They could give a fuck. Take a look at the equalization payments, right? And see which countries end up getting bent over a fucking table and which side ends up standing behind it with the belt buckle hitting the floor. The way our country works is that we are a federation of sovereign, independent jurisdictions. It's almost like somebody understands that Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms. Wow. There are one of those signatories to the Constitution, and the rest of us, as signatories to the Constitution, have a right to exercise our sovereign powers in our own areas of jurisdiction. Ugh, Rachel Notley, fucking cry more, you dumb bitch. The UCP has cut off debate on its job-killing, unconstitutional Sovereignty Act. What the fuck are you talking about? What, more people can't leech off of the government tit? Alright, bet. Try to convince me to vote harder for the UCP right now. Like, what are you doing? And voted it through the legislature at 1 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Oh my god. Okay, could have passed it in the middle of the afternoon, but you dumb fucks had to continue to banter it back and forth for 18 cocksucking hours. And even, the leader of the house was like, you guys just continue to beat the same point over and over again. Okay, if I wanted to listen to a bread tube debate, I would turn on YouTube. Can you guys just fucking stop already? And yes, for the record, if we form government, we will move to repeal this horrible anti-democratic legislation. Can you act, instead of just making these emotional appeals, can you point to anything on the piece of legislation that is largely symbolic? I will go ahead and capitulate to that. But can you point to anything that's on there that is anti-democratic? Oh, Albertans want to be represented by Albertans and their own personal values, not by the whims and the desires of the people out east. How awful! Fucking what? First Nations chief raised concerns with the bill. Of course, because they get pandered to by Justin Trudeau and his Liberal government. Makes total fucking sense. With some suggesting it could infringe on Indigenous rights. Like how? Rick Wilson. Yuck. Different one. Not the kid toucher from the Lincoln Project. Just probably, I don't know, somebody who sneaks into a TP after hours. Alberta's Indigenous Relations Minister told reporters that Bill 1 specifically states treaty rights will be respected. My mistake. I'll walk that back for a second. It's just something about that name, man, and those little elf ears and the bald little head. I just want to, throw him right off a cliff. And the government will listen to concerns and work to address them. Yes, listen to the natives bitch and whine. It's what we do in Alberta. Legal experts who spoke with the Epoch Times say the bill is constitutional. Yeah, no shit. Of course it is. Alberta lawyer Leighton Gray says criticism of the bill comes from a place of profound ignorance about the precise legal structure of Canadian federalism. The federal government has specific areas of authority. Yeah, exactly. And you guys stay over there. As for provincial concerns and municipal concerns, we'll deal with them at that level. Other than that, thanks, but no thanks. Bruce Party, Bruce Party. He loves to party. Executive Director of the Rights Probe and the Professor of Law at Queen's University. This is some commie cuck from out east, says Bill 1 is a sign that Alberta is not satisfied with the way the Canadian Federation is working. And that's a danger. He said the federal government should not take cooperation with a province for granted. Party adds that the real value of the bill is perhaps political, drawing comparisons with Quebec. Quebec has all kinds of favorable treatment from Ottawa since it's asserted its uniqueness and dissatisfaction with the constitutional order. For years, Alberta arguably has received the short end of the stick from Ottawa. Yeah, at the direct benefit of Quebec, in fact. You go back and I think it's the first video in this, it will be on the playlist in YouTube, but when I argued against Wexit at the beginning, mostly because it's kind of an unstructured disaster plan to just, we need to leave Canada. And it's like, as time goes on, it's like, we do need to leave Canada, but you need to be a little bit more elegant about your solutions. And this whole Sovereignty Act is quite a good step in that direction. But no, we went down the equalization payments, and Alberta pays, like $500 million just about directly to Quebec every single year. It's not fair. It's not fucking fair, mostly because it's like, yeah, we've got our fill on fucking poutine, okay? We got enough cheese curds and gravy to last us a long fucking time. You guys stay over there and continue to burn down your streets whenever the Habs win a fucking game. Just stop it already. There's no reason they shouldn't rattle the cage, says Party. The next provincial election is May 29th, 2023. Yeah, we got one in the spring, and don't know what to expect from that one, but in the meantime, though, good piece of legislation right here. And if that's anything to go forward on, yeah, buddy, this is the first time in a long time, and we've had a provincial government outside of 4 disastrous years throughout my entire lifetime to various levels of success, but this is the first time in a long time, for as long as I can remember, that there's been a good piece of pro-firearms legislation. I love it. I love it immensely. Alberta Premier says Provincial Firearms Act coming in the spring. Fuck yes. Albertans should expect to see Provincial Firearms Act in the spring of 2023, says Premier Danielle Smith. Speaking on the weekly Your Province, Your Premier radio show on December 3rd, Smith said Justice Minister Tyler Shandro is already well underway preparing legislation in response to the federal government's plan to add more weapons to the 1,500 plus makes and models of assault-style firearms already banned in Canada in May of 2020. After that, what's the nicest way to say false flag very dubious circumstance after that mass shooting in Nova Scotia and the amount of money that the RCMP directly wired to his bank account. It's just kind of weird how that happened, but that was the impetus for just banning all the guns because Trudeau got big sad at a podium once. Fucking bitch. Federal Bill C-21, an act to amend the Criminal Code and Firearms Act, among other legislation, is now being debated in the House of Commons Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security. Fucking yuck. If passed, it will ban most semi-automatic shotguns and rifles, many of which gun owners say are ordinary hunting shotguns and rifles purchased legally, which are unrestricted and unrecognized. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to defend your home from intruders, or if you want to jump through all the hoops to go hunting because you got a whole bunch of other licensing and buy your tags and all that shit and waste a bunch of fucking time to go shoot, or at least have the opportunity to shoot at an elk, perhaps, maybe you'll have to do with a bow and fucking arrow, but not one with a pistol grip because that's an assault style crossbow. Fuck off. But yes, semi-automatic shotguns, so what, like pump action, double barrel, like what are we dealing with here? And semi-automatic rifles, yeah, so what, hunting rifles, are we getting to a point where bolt action rifles are going to be a part of that? Okay, for fuck's sakes. The proposed amendments would also ban any gun that can hold a detachable magazine. Yeah, so literally whittled down to what, flintlock pistols. Alberta plans to follow Saskatchewan's lead in introducing its own Firearms Act in response to federal gun control legislation, Smith said. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe introduced the Saskatchewan Firearms Act on December 1st. Yeah, why not follow Scott Moe's lead? Like, that dude's been pretty based so far. And if Alberta ever decides to go sideways, there's plenty of room in Saskatchewan. So, well, there's also better space, down south, but the paperwork's a bit of a bitch. Constitution gives us power of property and civil rights, regulating how people use their property. This legislation is totally within our jurisdiction, Smith said. You bet your ass it is. The Premier said the policing and administration of justice also falls within the provincial domain. Our policing contract with the RCMP will get to decide what our policing priorities are, she said Saskatchewan, Manitoba are following suit. We've got New Brunswick and the new Yukon that have also agreed with the federal government has gone too far, so that is our agenda. Holy shit, didn't anticipate that, but that's cool. The current Alberta legislature sitting ends December 22nd for Christmas break, so maybe by the time this is released, it's been and gone, not entirely sure. Spoiler, this is being recorded well before it's released. I gotta get it monetized. Come on, guys. And it's funny, right? Just as a bit of an aside, okay, I've been on a pretty good roll lately. Just about every single video that I put up gets monetized, but never off rip. It's normally first thing in the morning. It's like, surprise, it's actually monetized for all audiences. It's like, yeah, I know. I don't say anything terribly objectionable. I like to say fuck or shit or dumbass every once in a while. So just let me roll. I'm informing the people that are out here, and this is especially good information for once happening in Canada. And that's probably why Danielle Smith is getting shitted on by all of the fucking hack media outlets that are out there. I think she's doing a great job so far, okay? Especially, she's actually making laws that people in Alberta want, and it's pissing off the right type of people. And if Rachel Notley would, I don't know, just take her commie ass and go to, Ottawa to kneel under the desk of Justin Trudeau. Not for anything nefarious or anything like that. I'm pretty sure he looks like a Ken doll if he ever took his pants off. So she just so desperately wants to be his fucking lapdog. Just make her dreams come true. And then in May of this upcoming year, make sure to not vote for her. Because for the first time in a long time, there's actually a leader in Alberta worth supporting. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.